Me love every woman in the world. The girls them pretty like diamonds and pearl. But a one girl me no want.
So hello guys, and welcome back to another video. You're probably thinking, oh my god, she looks a bit weird, her eyebrows look really dark. I have got my Maybelline tattoo brow on. I've already put it on and I'm just waiting for it to dry, so don't be alarmed by my really dark eyebrows. But before we get into this video, I just wanted to say hello if you are new here. If you've tapped on this video and you're new here, hello. I don't normally look like this, but today I'm just going to do a get ready with me, and we're just going to have a little chat. So I have no makeup on at the minute, so I'm going to put my makeup on while I'm talking to you guys. And I do normally say, if you are new here, then I would really love it if you would, but I'm actually going to say I'm going to do it a different way. So on this channel, it's mainly dedicated to everything plus size fashion, and I love to talk about body positivity and self-acceptance and just embracing the body that we are in. Actually, it doesn't really need to be a plus size body, just everybody accepting the body that we're in, regardless of the size that we have, our size of our bodies, the color of our skin, the, like, you know, if we have a disability, just accepting who we are and what God gave us, basically. So I'm all about just accepting who we are and what we've been given. And yeah, my channel is just a bit about everything. Lifestyle, I'm a parent, and I have some chronic illnesses, so I'm going to touch up on living with chronic illness today. And I yeah, it's a real, it's a hard one, and I've touched on it on a few of my videos, but today I'm going to talk more in depth about it. So what I'm going to say to you guys, if you are new here and you haven't subscribed, please do head over and check out some of my other videos. If you love anything to do with plus size fashion, or fashion at that, then head over, have a look at my other videos, and I would really love it if you would join my little YouTube family. So, you know, by all means, watch this video to the end if you'd like. That would really mean so much to me. And if you'd like to check out some of my other videos, go over and check out some of my other videos, and it would mean so much to me if you would like to. It doesn't cost anything to subscribe to my channel, so just tap that subscribe button, and don't forget to hit the notification bell so that every time I upload a new video, you guys will be the first to see it. And at the end of this video, if you do like it, don't forget to give me a big fat thumbs up, because it really does help me know that you are enjoying the content that I'm putting out. And also it does help the algorithms, I can never say that word, of my channel, and it helps push me up, and for me to be seen a lot wider, and for my audience to grow. So that really does help me out if you could, you know, like, comment and subscribe. So without further ado, let's get into this video. So I have no structure. I've got a big massive cup. It's Monday today, it's bank holiday, and I've got a big massive cup of coffee. I wasn't going to put any makeup on, but I wanted to talk to you. I actually, sorry, my chair's very squeaky. I actually wanted to, I woke up this morning to a very long comment on one of my videos that I'd posted recently, from a lovely subscriber that said that she's been following me for quite a while and she's never commented, but she really felt like she wanted to comment. And she said that she can really sympathize and you know, really understands where I'm coming from in terms of like my chronic illness, that she has a daughter that suffers with fibromyalgia, and that she would like to hear more about me living with chronic illness. So it was a really long message, and it really touched me and made me think, you know, let me talk a bit more about living with chronic illness. And you know, I've been asked this many of times, because I do talk about it in little spurts in my videos, because it's part of who I am. And I have been asked by you guys to talk a bit more about it. So, and I haven't really elaborated. So I just thought I'd use this time to do that, and sort of give you the backstory of how it all began, and you know, how I deal with it now on a day-to-day basis, how it affects my life, and so on. So yeah, we're gonna do that today, but I'm gonna pick out my first piece of makeup, and then we're gonna start where it all began. So I'm going to start off by using this Snapshot Ready Foundation Primer by Lacura. These are like literally my favourite brand. This is Aldi brand. I'm like obsessed with using Aldi brand at the moment. Yeah, I use all their skincare. Their skincare is amazing. They're like a dupe for like all of the top brands at the moment. I'm not really dressed. I've just got like this ASOS tracksuit on. I've had a shower, and haven't got really much to do today. I need to go to the post office, but I don't know if it's open today because it's bank holiday. So I'm not quite sure if the post office is open, and I need to go to Marks and Spencer's and pick up a click and collect for school trousers for my son. But that's about it really. But yeah, so okay, so let's start where it all began. So I have suffered with joint pains for a very, very long time, especially in my hands, in my fingers, really bad joint pain in my wrists and my fingers and my knees and my ankles for as long as I can remember. I guess like for as long as I've been a mum, and my eldest son is like 13 this year. So that's as long as I can remember, way back, all the time of being a mum. I can remember having really bad joint pains in my hands, my knees and my ankles. And a few years in of being a mum, I remember having an MRI scan on my knees and my ankles, and the doctor had said that the cartilages between my joints in my knees and my ankles, like the jelly stuff that sort of in between the bones, had worn away, and there was no jelly between like between the bones, so it was just pure bone, just like basically going like this. So I knew that I had really bad, that was what was causing the really bad pains in my knees. And when I bend my knees, you can hear like, well, even when I walk, you can hear it's really like horrible sound. Or when I walk up when I walk up the stairs, you can just hear my knees just like, ugh. And when I bend and stuff, it's just awful. It's a really yucky noise. So I've had problems with my joints for as long as I can remember. And I just plodded on, and you know, I was you know, just being a mum and just trying to get on with life and do whatever. And then in 2015, I would say, I started getting like really bad swelling, like my hands and my wrists started swelling, my ankles would swell, my knees were swelling. And at first, like, I was really scared to go to the doctors, because I've always been like a big girl. Like, I've always fluctuated in my weight, so my weight has always gone up and down. And I've always in my adult life, I've always been between a size, say 16, between a size 16 and a size 24. I'm actually at the biggest I've ever been in lockdown now. I'm like a real like big 24 at the moment. This is the biggest I've ever been, I think. And so I always, every time you go to the doctors, they always say, so I'm going to go in with some foundation. I'm going to use this number 7, and I'm going to use this Bright Start foundation in the color Nutmeg from Avon. I mix it together to get the like exact color, because I'm kind of like in between colors. I've got a mirror here, so if I'm turning my head, excuse me. So I always was a little bit scared to go to the doctors, because I always felt like every time I went to the doctors, he would always kind of blame it on my weight. So when I was getting when I was getting the swelling, my brother was like, oh, you seriously need to do something about your weight, because you're getting, your legs are getting really big. And I was like, no, that's not weight, that's like, they're swollen. And he was like, you need to go to the doctors about it then. And so in the end, I eventually I went to the doctors about it. And then the doctors referred me to the rheumatologist. Now, in this time, I had to wait quite a while to see the rheumatologist. And if you hear any noise, it's the kids playing. I say this every time because they always make so much noise. And in this time, unfortunately, my dad had passed away 2 years before, but my mum had passed away in 2016, and this was roughly I think the doctor had referred me like just before my mum had passed away, and my mum suddenly passed away, so it was like a shock to the system. And at this time when my mum passed away, it was awful. Like, it was awful. It was the worst thing that could have ever happened. Like, I'd lost my dad, and then obviously my mum just passed away. My mum was just 60 years old. And at that time I was going through a really bad patch with my husband at the time. And sadly we broke up and went through a really terrible divorce, and I was left a single parent with my 2 children. Now, my body went into complete shutdown. Like, my body completely shut down. And I didn't know what was wrong with me. I just remember one day, so I'd lost my mum. I was having problems already with my joints. They were swelling and stuff. But then obviously my husband left, and I was left with the children, and I remember my car breaking down, and I was like, this is just too much for me. And I remember waking up one day and I just couldn't move. I just couldn't walk. Like, my body just wouldn't, I just couldn't get my brain to make my body move. And then I managed to sort of like get up, but I was in so much that I felt like I'd done like an intense workout. Like, I'd done an extreme sort of like body boot camp thing, and I had like extreme pain, like just down my arms, my muscles, my neck was stiff, my shoulder, my back, just everywhere just really hurt. And my car had broken down, and I was just like, this is just too much. And this is really hard to try and tell the story and do makeup at the same time. But I just thought, instead of me just looking at the camera and just telling you the story, I just felt like I'll do my makeup. Like, I see other YouTubers like do their makeup, but it's really quite hard to multitask. So yeah, so my body had like literally like just completely like just stopped. And I was obviously, yeah, getting swelling of the hands and stuff like that, and swelling of my wrists. They were in so much pain, but at the same time my joints were hurting, but my muscles were also in agony. And I couldn't get out of bed. I started feeling like I was bedridden, and I was like trying to get out of bed, but I felt like a 90-year-old woman. Like, it was awful. Like, I can't, it's like something I would never imagine like ever happening to me. You know, a 30-year-old, how old was I at the time? So I was like early 30s, and obviously I had two young children, and I was on my own, and I live in an area where I don't have any family. It was just me and my husband and my two children, and our two children. And then obviously he sort of walked away from everything, and it was just me on my own with the two children, and I had nobody to help. And obviously my parents had passed away, and I've got brothers, and brothers are a bit different to having sisters. um so, you know, brothers are a little bit, sisters are like, you know, sisters and mums are kind of, you all stick together, but brothers kind of just get on with themselves, and they kind of forget about kind of that type of thing, like checking up on your like sisters and stuff. So I kind of was just left to my own resources on my own. And yeah, it was just an awful time in my life, and obviously I was grieving really badly. And anyway, so I went to the rheumatologist, and I explained, you know, what was happening. Like I was saying, I had said that I'd had joint pain in my hands and in my ankles, my toes were hurting, and my knees were really, really bad. And I went for all the tests. I had blood tests, I had x-rays on my hands, and I told her that like all of my body like was stiff, and I just felt like a 90-year-old woman. Like, I just was so fatigued, like I just couldn't get out of, and I was so very, very, very depressed. Like, I was depressed like I'd never been depressed in my life. Like, I was grieving really badly, and the whole world just seemed grey. um like, I would take my children to school, and I'd look at people on, I just felt like I was in this big grey bubble, and everybody was living their lives, and I would see it just felt so surreal. Like, it was so weird. And no matter whoever tried to help me, they couldn't help me, because I couldn't seem to get myself out of this little thing that I was in. I just couldn't. And so I told the doctors like what had happened. Like, I said that, you know, my husband had left after being married of 11 years, and my mum had sadly passed away suddenly, and my dad had passed away 2 years before. I'm getting emotional. I can't do my makeup and do this. This is just too much. And I'm getting emotional because I never thought that I'd ever get out of it. I never thought I'd get out of it. I was so stuck in such a bad way that I thought my life was over. And I felt so bad for my children, because I didn't know how I was going to be able to look after them, because I felt so alone, and I felt like my life was over, and I didn't know what was happening to my body. I've dropped the thingy there. I'm so sorry, guys. I'm going to go get a tissue. I'll be back. I just never thought that I'd ever get out of this bubble that I was in, and I was just in so much pain, like physically and mentally, like everywhere. My body hurt, and my insides hurt, like my physical insides, and mentally like it hurt. And yeah, so obviously when I went to see the rheumatologist, they done all the tests on me, and then it came back that I had some inflammation in my hands, and in my wrists, and my knees, which showed that I had rheumatoid arthritis. So they started me on medication for the rheumatoid arthritis. Now, I wasn't surprised about that, because my mum had arthritis, so I guess it was something that runs in the family. But then when they said, we think that you, not we think, but we're pretty sure you have a condition called fibromyalgia. At first I was like, what? I didn't even know how to even say it. And when they first diagnosed me with it, for like God knows how long, I still could not say the word. I could not get the hang of saying this word. And yeah, I'm surprised I even know how to say it now. So yeah, so when they diagnosed me with fibromyalgia, they explained to me, you know, it's something that can be caused by trauma. So women, it mainly affects women over the age of like 30, I think it is. Don't quote me on this, but it can be brought on by extreme people that have been had like a traumaed upbringing, or have experienced some type of trauma in their life. So like it could be you know, such as like grief, obviously divorce, or have been in a car crash or anything like that, some type of trauma. And obviously I had like a bit of a double whammy. Like I, you know, lost my parents, I lost my dad, then smack bang 2 years to pretty much the month. I lost my dad in April and we lost my mum in the May, 2 years apart. My mum is now sadly buried with my dad. And my ex-husband left the same week as my mum passed away, because we were going through a really rocky patch at the same time. And when my mum passed away, like, I think I just lost the plot, and it just, that was it. So the same week that my mum passed away, he left and our relationship ended. So literally it was like a double whammy. And I was grieving for myself, obviously the loss of my parents, my mum. But then I had to then also try and be there for my children, who had also lost their nan, who they were very, very close to, and also they'd lost their dad. It was a very, very hard time in my life. I'll be back. This video is so very hard to do. I don't know, I don't think I'm gonna get my makeup done. So anyways, I started medication for my rheumatoid arthritis, and started also medication for my fibromyalgia, and off I went on a long journey, battling and trying to recover and trying to rebuild some sort of life, some sort of normality, some sort of something, back to, I don't know, but it's been a long old road. And yeah, I mean, along the way I have it's been hard. It's been hard, but I've learned a lot, and I've had some really low points, and yeah, I've had some really low points, and I've learned a lot. I don't know what to say, but yeah, so let's talk about fibromyalgia. Do is just, all I've wanted to do is just be that girl that I used to be, and I no longer can be, because fibromyalgia and rheumatoid arthritis strips you of the person you used to be, because the pain that you suffer every day, you know, I might smile every day, and I might, you know, you might see me with makeup on my face, but it doesn't take away that, you know, I'm suffering and I've got pain in my body. And it's a illness that people really don't understand, and is very misunderstood. And I think for a long time, that's why at first I was so worried to go to the doctors or even explain to the doctors what was happening to me, because I was like, am I imagining this? Like, is this really happening to me? Like, I couldn't understand what was actually happening to my body. And I was like, how am I getting all these pains? Like, what is happening to me? I can't understand it. Like, what have I done to get all of this pain? Like, I've not been I've not had like an extreme workout. I couldn't get my head around it. And so for so long, I kind of felt like I was going mad. And at sometimes, when I'd go to the GP and explain to the GP this is how I felt, depending on what GP I spoke to, some of them would look at me like, okay. And I just felt a bit like silly and a bit stupid. It'd make me feel really like, it'd make me feel worse. And that's one thing that you don't need to be feeling when you already feel all of these things that you're already feeling. So yeah, but when you actually get doctors who are like, they have been, they've been working for a long time, and they know about this disease, and they believe in this disease, because there's so many doctors that don't believe in it. And there's a whole different story. I'm not highly educated into it. I'm not one of these people that really like go in and start like looking into things, but all I know is what happens to me and how it makes me feel. So yeah, I mean, every day I wake up and I am in pain. I have pain from mild pain to excruciating pain, and I can have mild pain like right now, and in 10 minutes from now I could be in excruciating pain for no apparent reason. Like, it just can just happen. um I don't know. Like, honestly, I don't know. I can't even wrap my head around it. I don't know how I'm gonna feel from one minute to the next. Like, it's taken away the life I once knew. I can't plan anything. In terms of like doing, like making plans, I get really anxious about doing anything. I don't go out much. I love fashion, as you know, plus size fashion and all of that, like, is my favorite thing. And it stripped me of something that I once did. Before obviously starting YouTube, and before my mum passing away, I was really, my modeling career was really taking off. I'd not long recently won Miss Plus Size United Kingdom, and I was modeling for the likes of Simply Be, and I'd done modeling for Yours Clothing. I'd done some runway, and I was really like my modeling career was really thriving, and that is my happy place, being behind the camera. Like, honestly, I love modeling, and it's something that I'd never ever considered ever. And it was just that I'd fell into it by, my brother had said to me, oh, you should do the pageant, Jode, you've got such a good personality for it, you would be brilliant at it. And I was like, no, I'm not going to do that. And he was like, why not? It's like Miss Plus Size United Kingdom, like, you should do it, you've got a great personality and you're a plus size girl, and you represent what it's all about. And I just thought, why not? And that was my journey to where I am today, and starting my self-love journey, and realizing that I don't need to hate myself because of being a plus size girl. Like, I need to love myself at every stage, because I grew up like for years and years thinking, when I lose 5 stone, I'll be more attractive, I'll like myself then, and then I can start loving myself more, and I can start looking nice, and I'll be more attractive, and I'll love myself more. I always used to feel like, when I lose some weight, I will be more attractive, and then I'll feel better, and then I'll love myself more. And I went, that's just what was my way of thinking. And I'm so happy that I entered the pageant, and I did and you know, I won it, and I started plus size modeling, and it changed my life, and I learned a new, like, I reprogrammed my head. Now I'm not here sitting here saying that you should all stay plus size and we should all be plus size women. If you are not happy being a plus size woman and you want to make changes and you want to lose weight for health reasons or whatever you want to do, we are all individual and we all have a right to do whatever we want with our lives. But what I am saying is that we all have to love ourselves at every single stage. Not, oh, when I lose 5 stone, or when I lose 2 stone, I'll love myself then. So that's my way of thinking now. Like, I'm the biggest I've ever been, but I'm not gonna love myself any less. Like, I still love myself the way I am now, and I'll love myself like, if I lose some weight, I'll love myself just the same. So I'm so happy that I've managed to reprogram my head in that way of thinking. So that's one thing that changed my life, and I'm happy I think like that. I've gone off the track a little bit, but yeah, so I was at such a great stage in my life before all of this happened, and obviously, yeah, with my mum dying and stuff like that, and then me getting divorced, it really did knock me for six. And then obviously being diagnosed with rheumatoid arthritis and fibromyalgia, like, I can't do those things anymore. I can't plan ahead. So guys, those were a few of, well, the symptoms that you get when you have fibromyalgia. Uh, if you can see, I haven't really done a full face of proper makeup today. I can't be bothered. Uh, not going anywhere, so this is as good as it's getting. I also, what else did I want to say? I also wanted to say that along with living with fibromyalgia, you kind of start to get other aligning symptoms or conditions. So with fibromyalgia now, I have also been diagnosed with generalized anxiety. Now, I had social anxiety, because I got to a point where when I was grieving and obviously had like so much pain, I just shut myself away and wouldn't leave the house. And I kind of got to a stage where I wouldn't even get out the car to pick the boys up from school. I would hobble myself into my car, not even getting dressed most days. I still do that now, believe it or not. Sometimes if I'm in so much pain, sometimes, I mean, we don't go anywhere anyway, but before the lockdown happened, sometimes in the mornings I cannot get myself dressed and ready to get the kids to school. My neighbour across the road does help a lot getting them to school, and my son is at an age where he can take himself to school now. But my youngest son, he goes to a school where it's not within walking distance. And if I haven't got help that day, then sometimes I do hobble into the car with my pajamas on, and I drop him to school. You know, both of my children now are like young carers. Believe it or not, you wouldn't believe it to look at me, because people will look at me and think, you know, I look completely normal. You know, what does she need help with? But my life consists of my children helping me day by day, minute by minute, or hour by hour. We live in our house now, whereas they help me to help them, to help us live as a family. Um, So in the mornings they will get themselves ready, and since I was diagnosed and before I was diagnosed, they have been getting themselves ready for school. um my eldest son can do the ironing, and at first I felt so guilty, and sometimes I still feel guilty, like that my children have grown up too quickly. But I've got two boys, and sometimes I look at it in a way that when they get older, I know they'll be able to look after themselves. So I kind of like feel like there's definitely an upside to it in that respect. um and yeah, they get themselves ready, they make their own beds. They help me to make my bed because I am a clean freak, and I can't function or think straight with a messy house. So they I have installed in them, and they help with like cleanliness of the house. They do help make the beds, they make their own beds. They self hygiene, they get themselves sorted, and they go down and make their own breakfast, and they wash up after themselves. So they wash their caps and plates, because that is extra work for me. Standing hurts, and washing up hurts my hands. So the less I have to do in terms of like using my joints, um the better, in terms of like me being in less pain. So they wash up after themselves, and yeah, I mean, it's been a long old road, but we've got to a stage where it works for us. And they help me daily, like they load the washing machine, it saves me having to bend. They hang the washing out, they take turns in hanging the washing out and unloading the washing machine. They put their own washing away, they fold my washing up and put it on my bed, and then I just put my washing away. They fold it and leave my washing on my bed, they put their washing away. We have two hoovers. We have a heavy hoover, which I don't use, and then we have a little Dyson hoover, which is really light. Sometimes I'm able to run that around the house. The boys use that around the house as well. We have the heavy hoover that doesn't really get used, but it's there if need be. They run the hoover around the house, and they help chop. So chopping things, and opening cans, they help with all of those things. Um, I lost my dignity a bit as well, which was really, really hard, because I'm young and I've got two boys, and as a mum, who wants to say to their their son, their children, can you help me put my trousers on? Can you bend down there and help me put my underwear on? Like, it's so embarrassing. It's like you don't want to do that. So those are the things that we've had to get over and deal with, and that it's like they don't even blink an eyelid now. And I say, can you help me off of the chair, and they help me, and it's like it's second nature, they don't even think about it. um and I say, I'm exhausted, I can't do it, and they just say, it's okay mum, you stay there and I'll do it. um Sometimes we'll go shopping, and I'll get out of the shop, get out, and go shopping into the shop with them. But they'll do all of like the shopping, in sense of like packing the bags and putting it into the boot of the car, and when we get home I'll do the driving, but they'll unload the boot, and bring it into the kitchen and help me put it away. So we work as such a team. So things have really, really changed in my household, since being diagnosed with rheumatoid arthritis and fibromyalgia. And yeah, it's been really hard, and thanks to them, they have helped me get some sort of like fun back in my life by having a YouTube channel, because it was my 12-year-old son who said, Mum, why don't you do YouTube? And yeah, I was like, I can't do YouTube. And they was like, you can. And my 12-year-old son was the one who was like, I'll help you do it. And he was the one who who helps me do the thumbnails. He showed me how to do it. And they're the ones who help me get in and out of the outfits when I can't get in and out of the outfits. I can't, you know, I tried doing the outfit videos where I do the blazer. I've done the blazer one, and I've also done another one, but they are really quite hard. I don't know if I'm going to be able to keep them up, the style outfits, because they really do take it out of me, and they're so much harder than just putting on a piece of our item that you get from like Boohoo or Yours Clothing. So I'm not quite sure if I'm going to be able to keep them up. But it's the kids that help me get in and out. You don't know what goes on behind the scenes doing those videos. And honestly, I'm not gonna lie, doing one video, sometimes I am laid up in bed for like a few days after, because it takes that much out of me. But the joy in what I get doing the video and actually seeing it all come together once the video is all put together and putting it up on YouTube, and the lovely comments that I get, like, it brings me so much joy. Like, YouTube has, I don't want to cry again, but YouTube has like give me some sort of my life back, in terms of like, obviously I can't do the modeling, you know, I mean, I can be in front of the camera in the comfort of my own home, and work with brands from the comfort of my own home in my own time. So in between shoots, if I can't get out of an outfit, or I need to sit down and take 5 or take an hour or take 2 hours, I can sit down, I can lay down, and I can take that time and then go back to shooting if I can. I can go back to it the next day if need be. I can do it in my own time. So doing YouTube has really brought me back some sort of joy and love of plus size fashion, and just doing something that I love. Because my son said to me the other day, like, oh mum, like, you know, you don't do it, what do you do for fun? Because my kids play computer games, and you know, they go out on their bikes, and my son was like, you don't do nothing fun, what do you do for fun? And I was like, I've got my YouTube. And they was like, oh yeah. And I was like, I really love doing that, that's like my happy place. And they was like, I'm so glad you've got that, mum. So YouTube has really brought back me to life, it really has. And I'm just, yeah, I'm so grateful to it. But yeah, I mean, living with fibromyalgia and rheumatoid arthritis has really changed my life. And it's not easy. And I would really say, don't ever judge a book by its cover, because you never ever know what's going on. You never know what's going on inside someone's body. You never know what's going on behind closed doors. And as you see, you know, I do not look like, you know, I wear makeup and I look like, you know, a fancy person, but I'm not like that. And even doing the vlog, that really took it out of me. And I had a few messages, people saying, oh, you look really, I love the vlog, you should do more of this. I don't even know if I'll be able to keep doing keep it up doing vlogs, because of my illness. So I don't know, take one day at a time, 1 hour, 1 minute at a time, one day at a time, just one step at a time. And that's just how yeah, that's just how I live now. But yeah, I mean, along with obviously fibromyalgia and rheumatoid arthritis, I obviously was diagnosed with generalized anxiety, and I did not know what generalized anxiety was. I thought I'd gained like social anxiety, because felt like I was scared to go out, and I was scared to, you know, even get out of the car picking my son up from school. A lot due to that, because of the pain that I was in. I always feel like I'm waddling when I'm walking, and I kind of walk a bit like this sometimes because of the pain. And I feel like people are looking at me thinking, why is she walking like that? Is it because she's fat and she's like can't walk properly? And I always feel self-conscious. But you know, I'm a big girl, but it's not because I'm a big girl that I'm walking like that. It's because I'm in so much pain because of the fibromyalgia, and the rheumatoid arthritis is kicking my ass that day. And so yeah, and I tend to, you know, a lot of people have said to me, oh, you know, why don't you use a walking aid or use a wheelchair? And I haven't got to that stage where I feel comfortable in terms of like using like a wheelchair or walking aid, because I don't know, like I'm comfortable in talking about the illness that I've got, but I'd rather just stay at home and not go out, and instead of using like an aid. And maybe as I grow and I develop and kind of get more comfortable with being living with chronic illness, I will develop and be okay with using like a wheelchair and stuff like that, because a lot of people said, you know, it really does save you in terms of having a wheelchair or having some sort of aid, that you'll be able to go out and be out for longer because you're not using so much energy. But I haven't got to that stage yet, which maybe in the future will be something that I will think about. But at the moment I haven't got to that stage. I will just shut myself away and just stay at home and just wait until I'm able to walk a bit. So yeah, so that's me. But yeah, I obviously was diagnosed with generalized anxiety. Again, I'm like waddling on talking here. And that is basically where you are basically anxious about everything and anything. And this is something that I suffer with on a daily basis. I feel anxious. I feel anxious about talking about things. So sometimes, even like making this video, I'll sit after it and think, did I say something I shouldn't? Did I say the right thing? Was it okay? Was it not okay? And then I'll over analyze everything, and then from that I'll be like, okay, that's okay. And then from that I'll be like, oh, you know, something else. I literally go from one problem to another. And I've got a lot better with it, but I have bad days. I have good days and bad days, and you know, it really affects my mood. I'm like up and down. um yeah, it's not nice. So yeah, so I suffer with generalized anxiety, along obviously with the other two illnesses. And obviously, if you are a, you know, a follower and you've been following me for quite a while, you will know that I also was in hospital a few weeks back. I one day just woke up and started all of a sudden having blurry vision, and thought, you know, I can't see properly. And I'm still like looking at the camera now, I can't see you properly. I'm like blurred. I've got like a slight blurred vision, and in the mornings I'm completely blurry. Like I cannot even see my phone screen. Like I can't see the TV properly. I'm just blurred. And then throughout the day it kind of like figures itself out, and then sometimes in the evening, sort of when I'm really tired, I start getting blurred vision again. It just comes on. And I was like, what is going on? I cannot see properly, or in the corners of my eyes here, when I'm looking like this way and this way, it's really quite. And then I started getting headaches, and at first I thought I was getting a migraine. I thought, oh, you know, this must be like a start of a migraine, when the first day that this ever happened. So I came home and I was like, oh, you know, am I going to get a migraine? And I never did. And the next day I was still blurred vision. And I phoned the GP and they said, you should go to A&E if it's still, you know. But because of COVID, I was really scared. And obviously being a single mum, well, I'm not a single mum. I have actually got a fiance, but we're in a long distance relationship. He actually lives in the United States of America. So I'm actually in a long distance relationship. So I actually am here alone with the children. And I was like, I can't go to A&E. You know, I have no one to leave the children with. So she said, you shouldn't play around with your eyes. That's the only thing I can suggest. And in the end, I decided to go to the opticians and see what the opticians thought about it. And they tested my eyes, and she said, can I do an x-ray on your eyes? So she done an x-ray, and then she see that there was some swelling behind both of the pupils in my eyes. She wasn't happy to leave me, so she phoned the hospital at the specialized eye clinic in the hospital, and they said send her down ASAP. So I then had to go to the hospital, to the A&E bit. and they see me straight away. And when they see me, they said they done all the x-rays in my eyes, and they said I had a condition called ID, ideally, I can't even say it. I'll put it on the screen here. And I was like, oh my God, what's that? And basically they said it's basically mimics like a brain tumor. And she said, have you by any chance put any weight on recently, like quite rapidly? And I was like, yes, I have. And she said, a lot. And I was like, yeah, since we've been locked down, I've put like maybe over 2 stone on. And she was like, are you sure? And I was like, yes. And she was like, that could be the cause of why this has happened to you. And I was like, oh. And she was like, we need to admit you, because we need to give you, we need to release the pressure from behind your eyes, because it can potentially blind you. And so obviously I started, you know, crying and got really upset. It was quite emotional, and I got admitted into hospital. And now I've been diagnosed with this actual high, whatever it's called, I can't say it. And I've been put on medication for it. I did have a lumbar puncture, and they released the pressure. So they went in through my spine and released the pressure from behind my eyes. Now they did that, and when they did that, it did help my vision. And they put me on some medication. And when I left the hospital, they gave me 2 weeks worth. When I called my GP and asked the GP, I'm almost out, the GP said, well, the neurologist didn't give me a repeat prescription for that medication, so I'm assuming that you don't need any more of it. So I was like, oh, okay. And I just left it and didn't say anything about it, because I'm on a lot of medication anyway. I take medication for my rheumatoid arthritis, I take medication for my fibromyalgia, I take medication for my anxiety, I take medication for my, like, let's say, like, depression. Well, it's not depression, but it comes alongside with my anxiety. So I'm on quite a lot. I take pain medication, so I'm on quite a lot of medication. So I was like, okay, fine, that's absolutely fine. Any less medication I'm happy with. So you know, I took that course and left it and called it a day. But then a few weeks ago, bam, just like that, I woke up and I had blurred vision again. Like, it went after I finished the course, and then I woke up maybe about a week and a half ago, 2 weeks ago, and it was back again. And I was like, oh my God. And it's really quite debilitating. And you get really bad headaches. I've been having really chronic headaches, and I just feel really fatigued. So I then called my neurologist and said, look, I'm getting really blurred vision again. I don't have that medication anymore. Was I supposed to be taking it again? That's what I called the GP. He said that you never repeated it. And she said, we're going to give it to you again. So they put me on that medication again. And then I had an appointment to see her last week, and she started me on a different medication along with that medication. I'm like, oh my God. So yeah, it's just hard going. So never judge a book by its cover. You know, sometimes a bit of makeup can fool you, but honestly, you don't know what's happening behind the exterior of a body. So yeah, so this video is basically just running you through all of my health problems, and yeah, living with chronic illness, because it is hard going. But I'm just so thankful that I have you guys. I'm so thankful that I have YouTube. I absolutely love being behind the camera, and I love doing fashion hauls. It takes the bloody energy out of me. It freaking kills me, and sometimes has me laid up in bed for days, but it satisfies me. I lost the joy of life, and that I just, you know, you have that, like, joy of doing something in life, and I got to a stage where I just used to cry every day, where I just felt like, what's the point of being alive? Like, I know I'm a mum and I'm here for my children and I'm raising the children, but I don't have any joy in anything because I can't do anything, because I don't know how I'm going to feel from one minute to the next. I can't go out and do anything. Like, my life is over, and it was so awful, and I just, yeah, felt really sorry for myself. But now starting YouTube, like, I can do this from, like, you know, just, it's just a personal joy of mine, being able to do plus size fashion and talk to you guys, and yeah, and do it from the comfort, like doing it from my home, and take breaks and lay on my bed if I feel, and you know, and have my boys help me in between, because I wouldn't be able to do it without them. So yeah, I would not be able to get in and out of the outfits. I wouldn't, yeah, I wouldn't be able to even do the videos without them, because I'm so not technical either. But yeah, but this has been a really long video, and I'm gonna love you and leave you, because you guys have probably listened to me jabber on enough. This is as far as it's gonna go in terms of makeup. But I hope you enjoyed this video. It was just a little not little, a long video of me talking about my chronic illness and my life into living with chronic illness. If you enjoyed it, don't forget to give me a big fat thumbs up, and do comment down below if you suffer with chronic illness. I'd love to hear about your journey. I'd love to hear how you if you suffer with anything that I have. I'm always open to hear about how you maybe help your like day-to-day living, in terms of what makes things easier for you, because I'm always up for learning new things to better my life. So yeah, but I'm gonna love you and leave you. Thank you all for subscribing if you're a subscriber. If you aren't, click that button, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Take care. Love you all so very much. Bye.